Imagine this. It's a scorching summer day, the kind where the heat shimmers off the pavement. You're inside, trying to escape the sun, when you hear it. That distant, familiar jingle. The ice cream truck. You remember the pure joy, frantically digging for loose change and racing outside. But as the sound gets closer, you realize something's off. This isn't the cheerful, tinkling melody of your childhood. It's spooky. A slow, haunting tune, like something from an old music box in a horror movie. This is the story of the ice cream truck that only plays spooky music. It started as a local legend in a small, quiet town called Oak Haven. Kids would tell stories about it in hushed whispers on the playground. They'd say it only appears at dusk, right as the streetlights begin to flicker on. Its music, a creepy lullaby, drifts through the streets, sending a shiver down your spine even on the warmest nights. The truck itself looks normal enough at first glance. It's a classic white van with colorful decals of smiling sundaes and cartoon popsicles. But if you look closer, you notice the details. The paint is slightly chipped, the colors are a bit faded, and the friendly cartoon characters seem to have eyes that follow you. The driver, whom no one has ever gotten a good look at, is just a silhouette behind the wheel, a shadow against the dim interior light. The first sightings were dismissed as pranks or overactive imaginations. Parents would tell their kids, "It's just an old truck, the music box is probably broken." But then, more people started hearing it. Teenagers out late, folks walking their dogs. Even the local sheriff claimed to have heard the eerie tune echoing from a few streets over, only for it to vanish when he went to investigate. The sound was always just out of reach, a phantom melody that seemed to dance on the edge of hearing. What kind of ice cream does a truck like this even sell? That's the biggest mystery. The menu painted on the side lists bizarre flavors: graveyard mud, gooey grape, vanilla phantom, and strawberry scream. Are they real? No one knows for sure, because no one has ever been brave enough to actually buy one. The legend says if you get too close, the music stops abruptly, the serving window slams shut, and the truck silently rolls away into the darkness. One group of friends, led by a curious kid named Leo, decided they were going to solve the mystery once and for all. They were tired of the whispered stories and wanted real answers. Armed with flashlights and a clunky old camcorder, they devised a plan. They would wait for the truck, follow it, and document everything. They called their mission Operation Chili Ghost. For a week, they staked out different corners of their neighborhood every evening. They sat on porches, hid in bushes, and waited. The first few nights were quiet, filled only with the sound of crickets and distant traffic. They started to think maybe it was all just a story. But on the fourth night, just as they were about to give up, they heard it. The faint, creepy music box tune, drifting on the breeze. Adrenaline surged through them. Leo fumbled with the camcorder, hitting record as the sound grew louder. The truck appeared at the end of the street, its single headlight cutting through the twilight. It moved slowly, almost gliding over the asphalt. The music was louder now, a chillingly beautiful melody that was both captivating and terrifying. It was unlike any ice cream truck they had ever seen. The air grew colder as it approached. They followed it on their bikes, keeping a safe distance. The truck didn't follow a normal route. It weaved through deserted streets and back alleys, places the regular ice cream men never went. It was as if it was searching for something, or someone. The spooky music was its call, echoing off the silent houses. Leo kept the camera rolling, his friends pedaling furiously behind him, their hearts pounding in their chests. The truck finally came to a stop in front of the oldest house in town, the abandoned Blackwood Manor, a place all the local kids avoided. The manor was a decaying relic, with boarded-up windows and an overgrown garden that looked like a tangled mess of claws. The truck's engine went silent, and for a moment, the only sound was the haunting music. Then, that stopped too, plunging the street into an unnerving silence. The kids hid behind a thick hedge watching. The side window of the truck slid open with a soft creak, but no one came to the window. Instead, the silhouette of the driver emerged from the front door. He was a tall, slender man in an old-fashioned, crisp white uniform and a matching hat that shadowed his face. He didn't look scary, just sad. He walked to the back of the truck and opened it, revealing not freezers full of ice cream, but shelves lined with dozens of old, dusty music boxes. He took one out, a small wooden box with an intricate carving of a carousel on the lid. He wound it up, and a new, equally spooky melody began to play. He then walked towards the dilapidated Blackwood Manor. He didn't go to the front door. Instead, he walked to a large oak tree in the front yard, the oldest tree in Oak Haven. He placed the music box gently at the base of the tree. He stood there for a long time, his head bowed as if paying his respects. The kids watched, completely baffled. This wasn't a monster or a ghost. It was something else entirely. After a few minutes, the man turned and walked back to his truck. His shoulders slumped. He got in, and without a sound, the truck glided away, disappearing back into the night. The only thing left behind was the faint, tinkling sound of the music box he had left under the tree. Leo and his friends, their fear replaced by overwhelming curiosity, cautiously approached the tree. The music box was still playing its sad, spooky tune. On the bottom, a small brass plate was inscribed with a name and a date, Eleanor 1958. The next day, Leo went to the town library and did some research. The story he uncovered was a forgotten piece of local history. Decades ago, Blackwood Manor was home to a family. The father was an ice cream man, famous for his delicious treats and the cheerful music he played from a custom-built music box in his truck. He had a daughter named Eleanor who loved carousels and spooky stories. She was his biggest fan. One summer, Eleanor fell ill and passed away. Heartbroken, her father lost his joy. He stopped selling ice cream. He tinkered with the music box in his truck, changing the cheerful tune to the sad, haunting melody his daughter had loved from one of her spooky toys. He would drive his truck at dusk, playing the music not to sell ice cream, but in memory of her. It was his way of keeping her spirit alive. The ice cream man eventually moved away, but the story says his ghost, or perhaps the ghost of his grief, returns every summer. He drives his phantom truck through the streets, playing the spooky music, forever searching for the daughter he lost, leaving music boxes at places she loved as offerings of his undying love. The ice cream truck that only plays spooky music wasn't something to be feared. It was a memorial, a symbol of a father's love that was so strong, it echoed through time. The creepy flavors on the side of the truck? Graveyard mud, ghouly grape, they were names Eleanor had made up, games she played with her dad. Leo and his friends never shared the video. They understood that some mysteries are not meant to be exposed, but to be respected. From that day on, whenever they heard the distant, spooky jingle of the ice cream truck, they didn't feel fear. They felt a strange sense of peace. They would just smile, knowing that a father was still remembering his daughter. His love song carried on the summer breeze for all eternity. And sometimes, if you listen closely on a quiet night, you might just hear it too. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more mysteries. See you next time. Have you ever heard that familiar, cheerful jingle of an ice cream truck turning down your street? It's a sound that instantly brings back memories of summer, sunshine, and a desperate scramble for loose change. But what if that jingle wasn't so cheerful? What if, instead of a happy little tune, you heard something else? Something eerie, something that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That's the story of the ice cream truck that only plays spooky music. It started in a small, quiet town, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone and nothing much ever happens. The summers were long and lazy, and the highlight of any kiddie's afternoon was the arrival of the Jolly G's ice cream truck. It was a classic, a bit old and rusty, painted in faded pastels, and it always played a tinny, slightly off-key version of Pop Goes the Weasel. The kids loved it. The parents tolerated it. It was a part of their town's fabric. One summer, Jolly G, the old man who had driven the truck for as long as anyone could remember, retired. He sold his business, truck and all, to a newcomer. No one really knew where this new guy came from. He was quiet, kept to himself, and his name, he said, was Mr. Melancholy. A strange name, sure, but people figured he was just a bit eccentric. The first time Mr. Melancholy's truck made its rounds, the town noticed a change immediately. It wasn't the paint job, which was now a stark, glossy black with silver trim. It wasn't the new menu, which featured flavors like graveyard gravel and midnight mint. It was the music. Instead of the familiar, upbeat jingle, a slow, haunting melody drifted through the streets. It was a music box tune, but one you'd expect to hear in a horror movie, right before the closet door creaks open. It was beautiful in a way, but deeply unsettling. At first, people were confused. Was it a joke? A strange marketing tactic? The kids were hesitant. The cheerful dash to the curb was replaced by a cautious peek through the blinds. But curiosity, as it always does, won out. A few brave children approached the truck. Mr. Melancholy would slide open the service window, a faint, sad smile on his face. He never spoke much, just served the ice cream with quiet efficiency. And the ice cream, it was incredible. The best anyone in town had ever tasted. Graveyard gravel was a rich chocolate with crunchy cookie bits. Midnight mint was a deep, dark green with an intense, refreshing flavor. Soon, the spooky music became the talk of the town. Parents were unnerved. "It's just not right," one mother said at a town meeting. "Ice cream is supposed to be happy. That music is just creepy." But the kids, surprisingly, started to love it. The eerie tune became a signal, a call to adventure. Getting ice cream from Mr. Melancholy's truck felt like a secret, a thrilling little ritual. They would dare each other to go, to order the spiderweb swirl or the Boo Berry Blast. The music was a collection of original compositions. Each one was a minor key masterpiece of melancholy. There was one that sounded like a ghostly waltz, another that mimicked the sound of a slow ticking clock in an empty house. They were hypnotic. You'd find yourself humming them later, a chill running down your spine even in the summer heat. One evening, a local teenager named Leo decided to get to the bottom of the mystery. He was an aspiring musician and was fascinated by the truck's unique soundtrack. He waited for the truck to finish its route and followed it at a distance. It didn't go to a normal garage or a depot. Instead, it drove out of town, down a long, winding dirt road, and stopped in front of an old, forgotten music hall that had been abandoned for decades. Leo crept closer, peering through a grimy window. Inside, the truck was parked in the center of the dusty main hall. And there was Mr. Melancholy, not resting, but sitting at a grand, cobweb-covered pipe organ. His fingers flew across the keys, and from the ancient instrument poured the very same haunting melody that had echoed through the towny streets just hours before. He wasn't just playing spooky music. He was composing it. Leo watched, mesmerized, for over an hour. Mr. Melancholy played with a profound sadness, his entire body swaying with the sorrowful tunes. It wasn't an act. This was a man pouring his soul into his music. He was a ghost of an artist, haunting his own life. The next day, Leo approached a truck, not just for ice cream, but with a question. "Your music," Leo said, as Mr. Melancholy handed him a cone. "You write it, don't you?" Mr. Melancholy froze. He looked at Leo, his eyes deep and sorrowful. He simply nodded. "It's beautiful," Leo said. "Why? Why this kind of music? For an ice cream truck?" For the first time, Mr. Melancholy truly spoke. His voice was soft, like rustling leaves. "Happiness is fleeting," he said. "Like ice cream on a hot day. It melts away. But sadness has a different kind of beauty. It lingers. It has depth. I don't sell happiness. I sell delicious melancholy. A moment of sweet sadness." He explained that he was once a composer for grand theaters, but his style was always considered too somber, too dark. He lost everything. The ice cream truck was his last resort, his mobile stage. The spooky music wasn't a gimmick to sell ice cream. The ice cream was a vehicle to share his music, the only way he knew how to be heard. From that day on, the town looked at the black ice cream truck differently. The spooky music was no longer just creepy. It was art. It was the song of a man who had found a strange, beautiful way to share his gift with the world. The parents still found it a little odd, but they understood. The kids, well, they had always known it was special. The ice cream truck that only played spooky music became a legend. People from neighboring towns started driving in, not just for the amazing ice cream, but to listen, to stand on the curb on a warm summer evening and let the haunting, beautiful melodies wash over them. They learn that not all sweet things need a cheerful song. Sometimes, the most memorable treats are the ones that come with a touch of sweet, beautiful sadness. It became a reminder that there's beauty in the shadows, and that sometimes a little bit of melancholy is the perfect flavor. Thanks so much for watching. What's the strangest ice cream truck experience you've ever had? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the curious corners of the world. See you next time.